Sick and tired of being sick and tired. The Black Conservative Manifesto, Crossing the Rubicon. Declaration of Spiritual Independence, one angry black MAGA general. There comes a moment in the life of a people when frustration becomes clarity. Fannie Lou Hamer gave that frustration a voice when she said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." I believe black conservatives in America have reached that moment. We are sick and tired of being told that our faith means we are sellouts. Sick and tired of being told that believing in family makes us backward. Sick and tired of being told that believing in personal responsibility makes us Uncle Toms. Sick and tired of being told that working within America to make America better somehow makes us less black. Enough. There is a social Rubicon that has been crossed. And when that line was crossed, something changed. When Al Sharpton says that black MAGA supporters are no longer welcome to deal with him or his people, I hear something larger than one man's political disagreement. I hear a declaration of social exclusion, and my response is, you don't own black America. No political organization owns us. No ideology owns us. No political party owns us. No activist organization owns us. And certainly no television microphone gives anybody the authority to decide who is sufficiently black. The absurd zone. Assata Shakur once described America as the absurd zone. There is something profoundly absurd about what has happened to black Christianity. Our ancestors were enslaved. They were beaten. They were separated from their families. They were denied education. They were denied political power. And yet they held on to something their masters could not confiscate: faith. They prayed, they sang, they preached, they buried their dead, they baptized their children. They read scripture when they could get their hands on it. They believed that Pharaoh was not God. They believed that suffering was not the final chapter. They believed that the God of Moses was still listening. And that faith helped sustain black people through one of the darkest chapters in American history. Then emancipation arrived, and something along the way, we began hearing something utterly bizarre. Those same Christian values that helped sustain us are now somehow a threat to black identity. How absurd is that? The Uncle Tom contradiction. And then we invented perhaps one of the most intellectually confused insults in American racial politics: Uncle Tom. The irony is extraordinary. Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin presented Tom as a Christian man whose refusal to surrender his moral conscience to his enslavers ultimately made him a figure of resistance. The famous story about Abraham Lincoln calling Stowe the little woman who wrote the book that started this great war is widely repeated, although historians have questioned whether Lincoln actually said it. But the cultural point remains powerful. Uncle Tom of Stowe's novel was not a black man begging to become white. He was a black Christian who refused to become morally corrupted by slavery. He would not betray his conscience. He would not become cruel simply because cruelty surrounded him. This is not weakness. This is moral resistance. The world says, survive by becoming like your oppressor. Christ says, do not repay evil for evil. This is revolutionary. Jesus was not a political party. And this brings me to the center of my manifesto. Jesus was a revolutionary, but his revolution was spiritual before it was political. Jesus did not organize his followers around race. He did not teach them to hate Rome. He did not tell them to conquer their enemies through violence. He told them, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5:44. That is not weakness. That is one of the most radical demands ever placed upon human beings. Jesus attacked hypocrisy. He defeated the vulnerable. He confronted corrupt religious authority. He overturned the tables of exploitation. He elevated the poor. He restored the dignity of the rejected, and he demanded that the human heart itself be transformed. That is the revolution Black America needs. Not merely a change in who occupies the White House, a change in who occupies our hearts. The Panther lesson. I respect the Black Panther tradition enough to learn from its mistakes. Huey P. Newton and the Panthers understood something important. Power requires knowledge. When Newton traveled to China, the revolutionary movement he encountered was not simply a collection of angry people. It was an intellectual project. Revolutionaries studied, they read, they analyzed, they developed theory. Amilcar Cabral later emphasized the importance of ideological education and what he called class suicide, the willingness of those emerging from privilege or intermediary positions to identify themselves with the liberation of the broader people rather than merely reproducing the interests of an elite. That lesson should haunt us, because anger is not enough, rage is not enough, a microphone is not enough, a movement is not enough. You need a theory of what comes after the revolution. And I would argue that Black America has spent too much time studying the machinery of oppression and not enough time studying the machinery of moral reconstruction. We know what we're against. Do we know what we're building? Our Rubicon. That is why today I am declaring a different kind of Black political independence. I call it the Black conservative Rubicon. Crossing it means we no longer apologize for being or believing in God, marriage, family, fatherhood, motherhood, education, work, entrepreneurship, personal responsibility, public order, human dignity, the sanctity of life, and yes, America. Not the America that was, the America that can become. Because Scripture tells us, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream, Amos 5:24. And the Constitution itself speaks of forming a more perfect union. That means America isn't finished. We are still building it. I refuse the choice. I refuse the false choice that says either you are Black or you are conservative. I refuse it. I refuse the idea that supporting traditional family structures makes us anti-Black. I refuse the idea that believing in God makes me intellectually inferior. I refuse the idea that supporting law and order means I don't understand the history of police abuse. I refuse the idea that voting Republican requires me to surrender my Black identity. And I refuse the idea that supporting Donald Trump requires me to worship Donald Trump. My allegiance belongs to God first. Politics comes second. Why Trump matters to me? That this is where my political journey enters the story. Donald Trump gave many Black conservatives something we desperately needed: political room to breathe. A place where we could participate in a larger political coalition without being required to surrender our racial identity. MAGA didn't tell me stop being Black. It gave me an opportunity to say I am Black and I am also American. I can advocate for Black families. I can advocate for school choice. I can advocate for safer neighborhoods. I can advocate for economic opportunity. I can advocate for religious liberty. I can advocate for prayer and moral formation in public life. And I do not need permission from anybody's political establishment. The Black MAGA cell. That is why I describe my own operation as a Black MAGA independent mobile unit. My platforms, One Angry Black MAGA General Podcast and Black Eagle Patriot News Bite, are not substitutes for the Black community. They are instruments of communication. And through QM Publishing, I intend to build something larger than another political movement. I want to build a school of thought, a place where Black Americans can debate, study, pray, think, disagree, build, and rediscover the possibility that our politics can be rooted somewhere deeper than resentment. The 21 county mission. That is why my 21 county social media tour is not merely a political tour. It is an intellectual pilgrimage. New Jersey is my ground zero, and I intend to ask Black New Jersey a simple question. What kind of community are we trying to become? Not who do we hate? Not which party do we belong to? But what are we building? Because St. Paul tells us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:2. There it is, renewal of the mind. That's my revolution. The new black man. The new black man doesn't need to become less black. He needs to become more disciplined. He needs to become a father, a husband, a protector, a provider, a scholar, a worker, a builder, a citizen, a believer, and when necessary, a man willing to tell his own community, brother, you're wrong, without hatred, without humiliation, without abandonment, because love sometimes requires confrontation. The new black woman doesn't need to become smaller. She needs to know that her dignity doesn't depend upon political approval, sexual attention, celebrity, money, or social media. Proverbs says, charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Proverbs 31:30. That's liberation, not reducing women, restoring their dignity. And the same moral standard applies to men. Be more safe. No more safe space for bad behavior. So let me make the declaration plainly. Bad behavior will no longer have a safe space in Black America merely because the person committing it is black. We will not excuse violence because the perpetrator is one of ours. We will not excuse absent fatherhood because somebody had a difficult childhood. We will not excuse corruption because the corrupt politician has our skin color. We will not excuse exploitation because the exploiter employs a black people. We will not excuse sexual degradation because it generates streams. We will not excuse ignorance because somebody calls themselves revolutionary. We will love our people enough to tell the truth. Ephesians says, speak the truth in love. Ephesians 4:15. That is our standard. Sick and tired. Fannie Lou Hamer said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I understand her now in a different way. I am sick and tired of Black Americans being told that our only legitimate political emotion is anger. I'm sick and tired of being told that forgiveness is weakness. I am sick and tired of being told that faith is backward. I am sick and tired of being told that family values are conservative propaganda. I am sick and tired of being told that patriotism makes me a sellout. I am sick and tired of being told that I must hate America because America once hated people who look like me. No, I can remember America's sins without becoming enslaved to them. I can acknowledge racism without making racism the center of my identity. I can honor Malcolm X without becoming Malcolm X. I can study Huey P. Newton without becoming a Panther. I can learn that Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Martin Luther King Jr., and Fannie Lou Hamer without becoming trapped inside any one person's historical movement. And I can be black, Catholic, conservative, American, and unapologetically committed to making this country a more perfect union. The final word. So to those who say Black MAGA supporters are no longer welcome to the table, we are building another table. Not a table of hatred, not a table of racial supremacy, not a table where Democrats are forbidden, not a table where Republicans are worshipped, a table where truth is welcome, where faith is welcome, where family is welcome, where work is honorable, where forgiveness is powerful, where black excellence and black responsibility walk together, and where nobody gets to confiscate our blackness because we voted differently. Jesus said, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. That is my revolution. Not revenge, not racial hatred, not armed insurrection, not political servitude, spiritual liberation. The Panthers gave us the weapon of theory. The Civil Rights generation gave us the weapon of conscience. Fannie Lou Hamer gave us the weapon of courage. Our ancestors gave us the weapon of faith. And Jesus Christ gave us the weapon that none of our enemies can confiscate, the transformed heart. So yes, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired, but I am not surrendering. I am crossing the Rubicon, and on the other side of that river is a new declaration. We will no longer apologize for wanting God, family, order, dignity, excellence, and freedom. And if somebody wants to call that selling out Black America, so be it, because I would rather be called a sellout by men than be condemned by God for falling or failing to tell the truth. One angry black MAGA general signing out. Peace.